Hello. We're back to another episode of the Far Off Films podcast, the number one anime podcast of all time. It is me, Timmy from Tim Jong-un Productions. Who else is here?
And I'm Luca from Luca's Films.
Mhm. And today we're joined by a very special guest. He is the host of the Chew on This podcast and also the co-creator of the Woodsboro retrospective. You can check out his channel. I guess that's it. Michael Chew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I appreciate all you having me on. Excited to talk some movies. Yeah, you just summed up everything I do, so I don't even have to go there. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Scream
Well, I don't.
enjoyer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm sure we've talked about this at some point before, but I know you're a big fan of Scream, so like just quickly, for Luca's sake, how would you rank all the Scream movies?
Ooh.
For my sake.
At the
Yeah,
moment,
I guess so.
I would say one is always going to be the top for me.
Mhm.
My first introduction to the Scream series was with Scream 2, so Scream 2 always holds a soft spot as well. I'd put that right next to it. Then I'd say 5, 4, 6, and then 3.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I think
okay.
I'd put 4 above.
So you liked-
And then I think that's pretty much the 4 above 5, and I think that's exactly how I would go.
Yeah, I flip-flop between 4 and 5 often, so I'm with you there.
Oh really? But you like Scream 5 more than Scream 6?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh wait, no,
Definitely.
actually, I
Really?
like
Okay,
6 more.
okay.
I like 6 more actually than 5.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I also think Scream 6 is the better one. Yeah. So
Yeah, that was a silly, goofy time. I enjoyed it a bunch. Definitely not a bad movie
Mhm.
by any means in my eyes.
Yeah. Scream 4 was not as bad as I was expecting. I mean, there was things about it that I thought sucked, but like it was honestly not it was better than like most of the other Scream sequels if I'm being honest. I think
Yeah,
that might be
it's
my favorite
aged
one. I'm
the
not
best
100%
for
sure.
sure of those older movies.
Oh, yeah.
I feel.
Mhm.
I mean, Scream 1's
Yeah,
like
it's-
always obviously gonna be the best one, but I don't know. Scream 2 has a charm to it that I like.
Agreed.
That I like
Yeah.
quite a lot.
Mhm.
Well, quite a lot in terms of Scream. But yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm always curious. I wanted to ask why Scream was always the franchise that you were most interested in. I mean, aside like I'm always curious like what about this franchise that like is so special to you and like you dedicated an entire like in total like what like 8 or 9 hours or whatever to like this entire
Yeah,
series or something like that.
8 or 9
Yeah.
hours of like actually recording and like days of like watching these movies over and over and editing the footage and whatnot. But
Mhm.
it's a movie. The second one, like I said, was my introduction to the Scream series, but also my introduction to horror movies. I'm not a huge horror person still. I do enjoy a good bit of them, but slashers have always been my thing, and that's what kind of brought me to the forefront of that genre. So always gonna hold a soft spot for Scream, and also just Wes Craven. I feel like one of the first directors with a style that was notable to me at a young age.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So if you're not watching aside from Scream, I guess, what would you say are some of your favorite movies ever?
Oh man, okay. Let's see. I am a huge PTA fan, so Magnolia and Punch Drunk Love are definitely up there. Glad to know I'm in good company with that. As much as I despise Bryan Singer, I must say that X-Men Days of Future Past has always been one of my favorites as well since I've seen it. I've always loved those X-Men movies.
Was that the one where they go back in time and fix
Correct.
shit or
Correct.
okay.
One
The
of
one that
one
made
of
Brett Ratner's one disappear.
yeah, to fully eliminate Brett Ratner from the canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are up there, and also Social Network. Um,
Nice.
yeah, Worst Person in the World, probably from recent memory, is one of those movies that's definitely up there as well.
Oh yeah. So yeah, very sick. hmm Nice.
Yeah.
Any least favorites? Do you have any films that you just absolutely can't stand whatsoever?
Oh
Or
man. Just not recently, but within like the past year or 2 years, I just saw the third "I Know What You Did Last Summer" movie, and that was painful. That was one of the most excruciating movie experiences of my life.
Yes,
There are
is.
two. There's one with the original, some members of the original cast, and then there's a third with nobody from the originals. It's just a piece of shit. No way, other way around it.
I mean, when most
Yeah.
horror franchises get to the third or fourth one, like, isn't this just like kind of what you expect at this point? You know, just like an utter
That's
abominable
totally
piece of
fair.
shit. You know, so
That's totally fair, but because the second one is not great either, but the massive dip in quality between 2 and 3 is also just insane to a level that is offensive. I would say to anyone that's fans of that first movie, at least.
hmm. Yeah, I've never seen any of these movies, but yeah, I know you mentioned these before, so I'm very curious to check these out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that one. The Texas Chainsaw with Matthew McConaughey stands out as a really bad movie that I did not enjoy watching. That's a tough watch. Like, not even fun bad. It is just pure shit. Yeah.
Which one is that? I don't even know. They
It's
made like
called-
100 different like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You have to be more.
Yeah, it also had two
Okay.
different titles, so you might know it as The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, depending on how
Okay.
you watch it.
I've heard of the first. I've never heard of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generations. That sounds like a shitty Star Trek spinoff or something. So yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that is a very, very epic choices. So
Yeah, definitely. Also, I forgot to mention After Sun, which I want to say was my favorite movie of last year, and I got to give that some love, too.
Hey,
hell yeah, we've never heard of that one before. So, yeah,
not only is After
so-
Sun.
Oh man, come on,
I
Timmy.
gave it I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah, I didn't love it as much as you guys, but yeah, I thought it was great.
I've watched
That's fair.
After Sun
That's fair.
76 times.
76 times. Wow.
That is. Are you okay?
I have a private letterbox account every time I watched After Sun that no one knows about, just so I don't have to put it on my normal one, so people don't think I'm crazy.
Bet it's something really stupid like After Sun Lover 6969 or something like that. So
No one will know. No one will ever know.
yeah, I don't even think I've seen Barnyard that many times, and that's currently my
No, I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating. It's not that
okay.
many
Yeah.
times.
Okay.
Yeah, I have many years to go for that compared to After Sun.
Yeah. You know that song like essentially ruined what's the song that they played? The
Dude,
Queen
Under
song?
Pressure,
Under
man.
Pressure.
That was tough.
Under Pressure. Yeah, that song like completely ruined that song for me because every time I play that song on like Spotify or whatever, I just get super depressed. I'm like, shit, like
Think about
someone's
Paul
dad just
Mescal,
died to
dude.
this song,
Yeah.
you know?
I,
Yeah.
I will not exaggerate when I say that I've definitely watched that scene over 100 times, like easily.
Same.
Like,
I would say the same.
Yeah, I watch that like scene like almost every day. Like, it's like yeah.
But you never get like depressed. But imagine like starting your morning off that way. Just be like, "Wow, it's a beautiful morning. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch the Under Pressure scene from After Sun." So
I don't watch it every day anymore, but when the movie first came out, I was watching that shit.
Yeah, I
every
was
day.
obsessed.
And then and now it's like, okay, if I ever need like some closure or some shit, I don't know. I'm like, okay, whip out After Sun, skip to 1 hour and 36 or whatever the time code is, and yeah.
So, well, that's all the questions I had. Did you guys wanted to ask Mikey anything or?
No.
That's okay. We have a lot of films to get to, man. Let's do it. You
Yeah,
guys.
we have a lot of shit to get
we
through.
gotta
I guess
go.
I guess we should just get straight into Barbenheimer, I guess. Which
Yeah,
one are we doing first? Are we doing Barbie or
shittier
Oppenheimer
one.
first?
the shit
Okay,
one.
so Barbie. No, I'm just kidding.
So Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, yeah. Uh, yeah, it's the movie about guy who builds a fart bomb and it explodes, and he gets super depressed about it. What did we think about the fart bomb movie?
Um, very good.
I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was really good as well. I honestly thought this was like of the recent, like, Christopher Nolan movies, like, I think this is honestly one of the better ones that I've seen from him. Like,
Mm.
I don't think this was, like, quite as, like, airtight as something like Dunkirk. I think Dunkirk is still the better film, but, like, to me, this was, like, much more enjoyable than something like Tenet. For starters, like, the movie wasn't, like, complete ear rape like Tenet was, so, like, already that we're on, like, a positive hill right now. Um but also just because I could, like, actually connect with, like, the characters in this one, I could actually invest myself in what's happening, unlike, like, Tenet and Dark Knight Rises and, like, whatever the hell else came out in between that era, like, lots of great performances, like, Cillian Murphy, like, everyone's talking about how awesome he is, he's, like, easily the best part, but, like, lots of really just great performances all around, like Emily Blunt and Robert Downey Jr. and all these people, just, like, yeah, and just, like, really well shot. Just, like, really, really solid movie.
The
Yeah.
only
Well,
real
this is
movie
his
is
first, like,
Benson Zodiac.
non-Iron Man performance. Yeah, this is the first time he hasn't done, like, snarky Tony Stark shit, so it's like immediately, it's
Hey,
like a
hey,
refreshing
hey.
change of pace.
Yes,
Yeah.
you guys are sleeping on Doolittle. Okay, calm down.
Oh, yeah, that classic masterpiece. Yeah. So yeah. I guess we should just get straight into because I remember we were talking about this beforehand. I remember Jules, you mentioned like the last hour, like with like the court case scene, like that. Those were like your big like issues with the film. I honestly love that stuff. If I'm being
Spoilers.
Oh
honest.
man, I love that
Oh
stuff
yeah,
too. Yeah.
spoilers. Yeah, spoilers by the way. Yeah. I honestly thought that was really interesting. Like I mean like that last hour had some of the best scenes if I'm being honest. Like the when like that one prosecutor like confronts like Emily Blunt and she just like fires back and stuff. Like that shit was like really cool. Like there were plenty of moments like that. Yeah. Mhm.
No, it was lame. First 2 hours, mwah, very good, very very airtight and very kind of like electrifying and sensory, and then they just drop it and it's like, oh yeah, now it's just the court case. There's like no thing that is built up towards anymore, so there's like nothing to care about anymore. At least that's how what I experienced.
I
um
didn't really see it that way. Because like at the very beginning they introduced the fact that like most of the shit is technically a flashback because like they're like prosecuting him and like asking him questions and stuff like that. Like because it's like I like the sort of like contrast between the two where it's like this is a guy who literally like helped save like millions of American lives and like ended World War II like definitively, and yet he's still being prosecuted for his like hypothetical like communist beliefs and stuff like that for being a suspected communist. Even though this is the guy who like created this like powerful atomic weapon like for the United States and everything. Like I thought like contrasting that with like the first 2 hours was like really interesting. And then it wasn't like completely out of left field. Like they did come back to like the court related stuff like
I was
in
gonna
the
say
first
I
2
felt
hours and
the
stuff like
build up
that.
to it
Yeah.
felt kind of felt almost as intriguing as the Trinity test build up because it felt like the movie
Exactly.
was
Yeah.
actually
Mhm.
propelling itself toward that point.
Mhm. Yeah. And I love how, like, the last act is kind of like because you know how, like, a lot of the memes about this movie are just, like, Oppenheimer's, like, sad that he built a bomb that blows up, and Harry Truman's like, "Shut up, science bitch," or whatever, like, that's the meme. Like, it's a meme, but it's like it still kind of highlights, kind of like his, like, morality, because I really, really loved probably my favorite scene in the whole film when he's, like, giving that speech in, like, the gymnasium or
Oh
whatever,
yeah, that
and
was
then, like,
crazy.
their voices, yeah, like, starts, like softening out as like the fucking bodies disappear and then like he like experiences like what might have been like what people had experienced when the atomic bomb hit them and stuff like that was really awesome and like I loved how like that sort of like traumatic event even though he didn't like technically like kill anybody he didn't like like explode the nuke on the Japanese themselves, like he still has this like sense of guilt to him, and it explains like why he was like very like against the idea of like investing in the hydrogen bomb. Like I thought that was like the way they kind of like built up this like, oh, it's like a race
He
against
was
time
not
type of
against the
thing.
idea. I think
No,
the
he
film is kind of shitting on him, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
oh
I think
yeah.
that's fair.
yeah.
I mean they
I
definitely
will
like
agree
yeah.
that that scene was really good, but I think everything after that point is where it slowed down for me. Like I
Okay.
think if it ended there, like it actually would have been like I would have liked the movie a tad bit more.
Mhm.
Cuz like yeah, like cuz like everything after like that point is just like what I liked about the film was like how like it was like exploring like his intrusive thoughts, and like there was like these cuts to like sparks and explosions, and like you
Yeah,
kind
that
of
was really cool. Yeah,
got like a
I liked a lot of that.
feeling of like his mind and like his whole process up until like the bomb was dropped. But like they kind of just stopped doing that like in the last hour. Like there's none of these like sensory like
Hmm.
feelings and experiences anymore, and that was the main aspect that hooked me into the film, and that's what I liked about the film the most.
Okay, that's
um
fair. Yeah.
because like yeah, like what, like I love Spencer's my favorite movie of that year,
Yeah.
and that's a movie that takes like a person and just explores them through like some completely surreal like kind of horror-esque elements, and like uses like the mind as like and the psyche as a like a way as a transportation method of visualizing the characters' experiences and emotions, blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
And that's what I liked about this film. And then again, they kind of like drop it after like that great scene of him like giving like the rally speech. Um,
But did
but
you not
yeah,
like the scene where I because I really love the scene where like Robert Downey Jr. is like in the press and then Mr. Robot just shows up and be like, "Boom, bitch, here's a massive reveal. Fuck you." Yeah. So he's
yeah. If I didn't, yeah, I say if I actually knew this character's importance to the story, I probably would have uh
Mm. And he doesn't
given
really
more of a shit.
yeah, I thought like I was like it would have been really funny if like Rami Malek just showed up but he didn't actually say anything like
I was
but
genuinely
then like,
thinking that was
that's
going to happen at a certain
yeah,
point. I
that
Yeah,
would
did
have
not
been
same.
think he was ever
hilarious. It didn't
returned into
happen.
that
He ended up,
movie.
yeah, he ended up saying shit, but like, it still would have been like the idea would have been funny to just like bring Rami Malek, this Oscar-winning actor, and then just him not saying anything the whole film. That would have been hilarious. So, um, yeah, but I guess like going back to the first, I will agree. Like the first 2 hours definitely is more exciting than the last hour because like we've been saying, like there's a sense of like urgency, like they're constantly insisting like, oh man, like the Nazis, if we don't speed this up, the Nazis will get a bomb or whatever. So there's like this sense of urgency, and I really love how like I'm not usually a fan of how Christopher Nolan just like spams loud ass music in like all of his films. Like in Tenet, like he was just spamming the shit out of like loud ass music just for the sense of like creating this like artificial sense of epicness. But here it actually like kind of enhanced like a lot of like the pacing because like I don't know about you guys, but like for me this film like flew by, and I think like the music definitely like helped like enhance a lot of like I was gonna say action scenes, but there's no like action scenes per se, more just like when I say
The
action scenes, more like
atmosphere.
people just doing things. Yeah, like people like
Yeah.
building the bomb and like testing the bomb and things like that. Yeah. So, mhm.
Yeah, I thought the music was pretty good. It was better because when I got
Yeah.
bored, I put my fingers over my ears and pressed them in and out, and it made the music sound a tad bit cooler.
Mm.
Yeah, and I agree what you're saying. Like I still really like the movie, but yeah, those first 2 hours are really great, but the last one kind of slows it down for me. Kind of grinds a bit.
Mhm.
That's when I started to feel it.
Yeah, it's a definite change in pace, tone, feel. Even like the characters that are utilized in that last hour versus the first two are a completely different set almost. So
Yeah.
I can totally understand why it just feels far too different to enjoy at that point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy how Benny Safdie has more lines than, like, half of, like, the mega famous cast that are, like, in this
Yeah.
movie. Like, I think he has more to say than, like, Emily Blunt, and she's, like, what, like, top billing or something like that? Yeah, she's Oppenheimer's wife, yeah, which, like, I will say that is, like, one issue that it seems like everyone else is saying this, but, like, I definitely agree, like, the women characters in this film are just practically non-existent, like, they just
That
occasionally show up to,
scene,
like
that scene
yeah.
where she's like having sex with, where Florence Pugh's like having sex with him, and they're like in the boardroom, was so bad. That was so bad.
Yeah. It's supposed to be, like,
I
surreal,
swear,
bro.
I swear, Christopher Nolan has like never talked to a woman like in his life.
Were you guys laughing at the scene where him and Florence Pugh, they were in bed and then she was just like, read me this random piece of literature, and then he's like,
Yes.
I have become death. That was really stupid. I thought I would kind of chuckled at myself of that scene. So yeah. So like
Yeah.
I get that he's like trying to be poetic or whatever, but like the way that they went about that in that scene was just like really, really just like
Yeah, strange
dumb.
sequence.
So yeah. So but I mean, but overall, like I wouldn't say there are any like bad performances, and like there were like a bunch of cameos that I wasn't expecting. Like I didn't know like Casey Affleck or like Harry Oldman was gonna be in the movie, but you know they showed up, and yeah, they were really really great as well. Yeah, so and
That
yeah.
post-credit scene was crazy.
What was the post? I didn't know there was a post credit scene.
Yeah, they show Hitler and everything.
Did they?
They show Kennedy. They show Kennedy as well. Yeah.
Feel
No,
like you're
I'm
messing with
joking. I'm
it. Yeah,
joking.
exactly. Yeah. So, but on that
It
topic, I
cuts to
really
Kennedy
love.
and it's like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
like, oh fuck.
But on the topic, I really love how like Christopher Nolan treats like all these scientists like they're like Marvel superheroes or some shit. Like
Oh yeah.
he treats like Albert Einstein like he's like Nick Fury or something like that. I think
Yeah.
that was just hilarious.
I was gonna say, I
So
think the biggest laugh I got out of the movie was Einstein standing behind the bus.
yeah. Oh yeah. That was funny. Yeah. So yeah, because like the entire like set, like the end of like the first act was just like them assembling the Avengers. Be like, we gotta like assemble like the smartest scientists in the world to like build this bomb or whatever. Like, I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm Yeah. So yeah, so I guess you guys would agree that like the film didn't really need to be 3 hours. Like it like could have
Nope.
shaved off like
Yeah, probably.
okay.
Should have been
Mhm.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
I would say that's like a reasonable runtime. Yeah, I mean honestly, like that's like an issue I have with like so many of Nolan's films, and we're gonna get to that when we talk about Inception. Like his movies just start getting super super long, just like for literally zero reasons
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like it's just like Tenet had this problem too, and like Dark Knight Rises had this problem too, where it's just like I get that he's trying to create this like scale of epicness, but it's just gone to the point where it's just kind of become like a little self-indulgent and just like making his films as long as possible because he just feels like it, you know? It's just like, you know, like even though I really enjoyed this film, like I also agree that like you could have shaved like 20-30 minutes off this film's runtime and you probably would have changed like barely anything about the movie, but you know, whatever. So, mhm.
It's a Nolan, man. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah. But that IMAX like really really good. Like this was like yeah, like, very visually impressive, like, I mean, which is, like, to be expected because you know, he's Christopher Nolan, he shoots everything in IMAX, but still, it looks, like, really, really, like, well
Mhm.
shot, so
Did you guys all
Mhm.
see it in 70 millimeter?
Uh,
That does not exist here.
yeah, I don't think that existed in my theater, but we had a IMAX PLF, I think that was, like, the closest, like, equivalent to
Mhm.
70 millimeter, so, um why, were you able to see it in 70 millimeter? How was that experience if you did?
Yeah, thankfully I bought tickets like a month a month ago. Now all the 70
Oh, wow.
millimeters are completely sold out. They're even doing like 2:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. showings of this, which is insane. I've never seen anything like that
6
before in LA.
a.m.?
6 a.m., dude.
Jesus.
6 a.m.
What the fuck?
6 a.m. and 2:30 have been the most recent ones that some of the AMC's have added, and that the Chinese theater, Man's Chinese Theater out here, have added. But
Would you
seeing
be
it in
able to
70
sleep? Like,
millimeters
if
is
you went
insane.
to the 2:30, if you went to the 2:30 one, it'd be 5:30. It'd be like morning by the time you like got
Yeah,
out of the
you would be
out of the theater
exchanging
zone.
places with the 6 a.m. screening, essentially.
That's hilarious. So
Yeah, I got to
yeah,
see it at City Walk though. Universal's 70 millimeter, their giant IMAX, and it was awesome. It's probably one of my favorite IMAX movie going experiences, next to Nope recently, which was amazing in IMAX.
Oh yeah.
oh nice. Hmm. Yeah, and both from the same cinematographer, Hoyt van Hoytema. He really knows how to shoot good-looking films. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. Barbie and IMAX was kind of cool.
I wanted to see Barbie in
I
IMAX,
wish
but
I
that
could
was
see
like
that in
literally
IMAX.
not
Yeah.
an option. Yeah, that wasn't an option for me. Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess speaking of which, I guess we can move on to Barbie if you guys are done talking about Oppenheimer.
I want to ask you guys real quick before we finish up Oppenheimer, favorite member of the supporting cast that isn't RDJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say Benny Safdie too.
Good picks.
Oh wait, no, I changed my mind. It's Roderick Rules. That's my favorite supporting cast member.
Don't even know his
Yeah.
name.
He vomited and then he like stood in a crowd for like 5 seconds, like, and that's all the screen time he had.
Yeah, a lot of big actors with little to no screen time or dialogue in this movie.
Yeah, and but also shout
Yeah.
out to Josh from Drake and Josh. I stood up
Yeah.
and clapped and said, "Yeah, that's the Josh from Drake." I've never seen Drake and Josh, so I
Whoa.
don't have any like references to like whip out.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I saw Real Things back when I was a kid, not Drake and Josh. Okay,
Alright,
Jesus.
fair.
So, but yeah, um, 7 out of 10, I guess. Good movie. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would like to rewatch it again once more. It probably won't be in 70 millimeters, so that'll probably give me a more fair read of what I think about the movie besides the visual spectacle of it all. But somewhere between like a high 8, low 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the same with Timmy. I think it's a solid good 7. I think it's real good movie. I honestly think it's one of Nolan's best movies because I'm not
Yeah,
the
I
biggest
agree.
fan of him. I'm not the biggest fan of him.
Mhm.
So
As we'll see later on in the discussion. So, yeah.
yes.
Well, I guess we're moving on to Barbie now. I don't have a good transition. So Barbie time, the slayest movie ever. What'd you guys think of Barbie? I thought it was good.
Really
So-
good. Yeah, awesome.
Amazing. Amazing.
So yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. So what'd you guys love about Barbie?
The fact that it's better than Oppenheimer. That's all I needed. No, it's just a ton of fun. It's just so difficult not to enjoy a movie. It's just they made Barbie good. They made the idea of a toy doll very good and very empowering and slay and fun and enjoyable and yes.
Yeah, it turns out all you need to do is give a good director the free range to do whatever they want, and then just make a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, but crazy,
figure,
right?
right?
Yeah. So, yeah. So,
It is crazy. It's crazy
Mhm.
how they managed to pull this off, honestly. Like,
I was kind of
Like-
surprised how much they could get away, like in terms of like some of the jokes, because like I remember like some of the jokes being like, wow, like because I don't know, but did they market this movie for like kids for you guys? Because like this was like marketed as like kind of a kids movie. Not really. Okay, yeah, because like
I wouldn't say so either. Not really.
okay, because like
I
a lot
think
of
it's,
my
like,
audience were
13,
like,
I don't know.
yeah, because
I
like
think
a
you
lot
can
of
watch
my
this,
audience.
like, if you're around there.
Yeah, definitely. Because like a lot of my audience were just like either teens or like like middle-aged women wearing pink dresses, like in
Yeah,
in my
that's the
theater.
audience.
Yeah.
That's the target audience. Like,
I'm not complaining. I'm just like noticing. I was like, oh, so this is all the people who are showing up to see the movie. Yeah. So yeah,
I am Kenneth.
I am
Like,
Kenneth.
God,
we are
Jules.
all Kenough. Yeah. So yeah.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, there was a lot. I should probably just state right now. I think like Ryan Gosling is like easily the best part of this film. I fucking loved Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling's
He's
performance
fucking hilarious.
so much. Yeah, like he managed to be both like vulnerable, I guess, if you want to call it, like as vulnerable as you can get, like in a
Yeah.
Barbie movie, but also just like really funny. It's like he took like his characters from like Drive and Nice Guys and just mashed them together into like one character. It's fucking hilarious. I really loved it. Yeah. So yeah.
I just love that, like, all of the like edgy, like stoic, like, you know, like film bro, like literally me, Ryan
started
Gosling
with
characters.
They started
led
with
to
the
this
2001
moment.
parody. That's hilarious. Yeah, and they're like, "Yo, you've never seen The Godfather, bro? Let me explain the genius of
Yeah.
The Godfather."
The scene where they're all singing Matchbox 20 in unison is also a huge
Yeah.
highlight for me.
Yeah,
And when
That
they
was
referenced the Snyder Cut, holy fuck, that was
the only
hilarious.
that was the only
was
one I
funny.
was cringing at purely
Yeah.
because like that one felt like Warner Brothers telling Greta to like put this in the movie and make
Without
her
a
say
shadow
this
of a
instead
doubt.
of like
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
a isn't like it a Warner Brothers property, like,
yeah.
and it made a fuck ton
So-
of money. I thought I could totally see like fucking Noah Baumbach sneaking that one in, like just
Oh yeah, I guess that's true because
Yeah.
he also co-wrote the film. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know though. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the humor was like really fast paced, just like lots of jokes like left and right. Like I
Yeah.
honestly like really want to see the movie again just so I can like catch it because I know I missed like at least like a handful of like
Oh, yeah,
jokes. So like
you
I
did.
definitely want to rewatch the film just for that. Yeah. So
I've watched it
Um,
twice now.
yeah, and I just love like the
yeah.
production value of the film too. Like whenever they're in like Barbie Land or whatever, like that like first 10 minutes where they're like essentially doing some like fucking La La Land shit where they're like lots of sparkles and they're like floating in the sky and they're like having dance parties and like you know like lots of and like the Ken's going like I'll beat you off. No, I'll beat you off. I'll beat everyone off, you know? So yeah, it's really great production value. Yeah, so
Yeah, everything about like the set design and everything is amazing. Like all the practical props and effects and elements to it. It's all great. It very much has that Barbie Playhouse kind of feel. It's very reminiscent. I love how you could like just look at it and be like, "Holy shit, they're using shit that people did like fucking hundreds of years ago, and it's still working." I like that. I love that you could see the sound stages. I love that everything had like a kind of fake feel to it, but it was also like really charming. Yeah, I loved like the use of backdrops, like painted backdrops, natural or not natural. I guess natural. Well, no, not natural. Lighting, very unnatural lighting. Sorry.
yeah.
Just like using colors, using just everything practical, everything, well, mostly everything was like built and could feel it. It was really like amazing to see. More of a spectacle than Oppenheimer, honestly. I'm
I
not
think
even
that's
shots
joking.
fired,
Like,
Fair to say,
like,
for sure, yeah.
yeah, like
Kind of Wes Anderson-y, like what kind of Wes Anderson? Yeah, Wes Anderson-y. That there we go. I tried to.
I think
you
it's
know, like-
more Jacques Tati-esque, if anyone's seen
Okay.
those films. Very
No,
Wizard
I
of
haven't.
Oz, very Jacques Tati.
Oh
Very
yeah,
old,
yeah,
very
okay, yeah.
Wizard of
traditional
Oz, for sure,
filmmaking.
yeah.
Very awesome stuff. I loved all of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just a really
Yeah.
great fun time. Like I don't know how you can't not like this movie, like unless you're like a fucking I feel like this movie's good.
Sexist,
Like if you take
Far
like
right grifter. Yeah.
if you take a dude to watch this movie and like they like, I think this is the perfect movie. Yeah, I think this is the perfect movie to like figure out if someone has a red flag or not. Like,
Yeah, this is a good litmus test
yeah,
for that, for sure.
yeah,
Oh
literally,
yeah,
yeah,
I've never thought about it that way, but yeah, that makes so much sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was looking for. Yeah,
be like, are you a cringe far right grifter? Yes. Oh, okay. Well, and that's the end of that then. Yeah. So, so yeah, I had a lot of fun. I don't think it was perfect because I definitely had some issues with the film. I'm just gonna say it right front. I really did not like Will Ferrell in the film at all. I just hated his presence. Like, if you like surgically removed Will Ferrell from the movie, like very little would have changed whatsoever. Like, I felt like his whole shenanigans of like him and like the executive boards, other than just to like highlight the fact like, oh, it's like a Barbie, like it's a product for girls, but it's like the CEOs are run by like dudes or whatever. Like, I get like that was like part of the joke or whatever, but then it just got to the point where it's like, okay, like they're just, I don't, and also I'm just not a big fan of like Will Ferrell just in general. So when he was taking up a bunch of screen time, I was like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, like please just move on to something else already, you know? Because like,
Yeah.
I liked a lot. Exactly, which this film definitely reminded me a bunch of the Lego Movie, like, not just because they're both based on toys, but also they kind of get, like, pretty meta and pretty self-aware about the fact they're like, "Oh, we're movies based on toys, but it's, like, free will and, like, all this other stuff," you know? Like, surprisingly a lot of similarities to the Lego Movie. I like the Lego Movie a lot more than this one, but, like, definitely a lot of, like, connecting threads. So, um, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I did not hate the Will Ferrell stuff, but the
yeah. Me
whole just
neither. It was
real
fine.
real world angle as a whole was kind of just take it or leave it for me, sadly. I thought America Ferrera did like a pretty good job. They gave her some lines that were a tough sell that I think in
Kinda
another
cringe,
person's
yeah,
hands,
I know
in
exactly
another
what you mean,
person's
yeah.
hands, it would
So
not have been as graceful. So I think she did a really good job of carrying the weight of some of that. But I will say though,
mhm.
the emotional bits in like the final like 15-20 minutes really got me. And
Yeah,
Greta
same.
Gerwig has done this to me multiple times now at this point, so I shouldn't really be surprised. But I think it was kind of shocking after having such a good time with it and then having a couple emotional bits that didn't really work for me to have something so once again, I don't want to steal the word here, but whimsical and magical at the end of that movie, followed by a great punchline to fully close it off, was extremely
Oh my
satisfying.
goodness, that was the perfect way to end the movie. I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
I really
like,
liked the ending as well, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I love that montage before as well. It's very potent. I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of people aren't gonna like that this movie isn't subtle, but it's like what even in the slightest is subtle about fucking Barbie? Like what were you
Exactly, yeah,
expecting?
like,
Like
it's a
yeah,
Barbie movie, like, if it like,
yeah,
it would've been really, really difficult, like, to make something like because it's already you're making a movie based off of a fucking doll, so, like, already you're, like, kind of on, like, an
Yeah.
uphill slope. It's like,
you're
if,
making a
like
movie about probably the most popular like doll brand ever. Like
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
And I kind of respected how like aggressively like upfront and honest about what it was. Like
Yeah.
not just like in terms of like expressing its like feminist themes, but just like its whole like like its tone and like its like presentation. Like it's very upfront and honest about what it is, and I kind of respected it for that. It's just like when we go to the human section and like I think Mikey, you mentioned how like it's a take it or leave it situation type of thing.
Mhm.
It's definitely a leave it for me because I was just kind of like I mean, there were some jokes that I liked, and I did like that scene where, um, she's, like, sitting on the bench or whatever, and then she looks
Great
at, like, the
scene.
old
Oh
woman
man,
next to
that was
her.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really
Mhm.
great. Yeah, I loved that, but then, like, there's other shit where just, like, America Ferrera's daughter, whatever her name was, she's like, "You're a fascist," and then yeah, and then she runs away crying. I was like, "Ugh, okay, alright, movie." So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
hard because the
was
first bit of it
oh
is filled
sorry.
with so much great production design and everything, like you guys were saying, that it's not that the jokes didn't work for me as much as just it loses that
Mm.
uniqueness to it when we get there.
Yeah,
I was
and
worried that like most of it would be in the real world, but it's actually I think it
Same.
was a pretty good balance for me, honestly. I don't think like they spent too much time there. I think they got over with it pretty like in a good pace, which is weird because like a lot of that's like my only real issue with the film. Like some story elements like bother me just a tad bit, like the mother daughter stuff is like whatever. It has its moments
mm,
though, but I think the pace, like even watching it twice, like it works better on a second time, I will say. But like I
Mhm.
thought the movie was gonna end way sooner than it actually did. But
oh,
watching it
really?
but watching it again, I actually appreciated like just how much they actually spent in that Barbie world. Like it's
Mm.
really great how much they utilize the setting, like just to its
Mhm.
last drips and drops. Like, yeah,
I mean, yeah, those are like
yeah,
the Barbie world is like where the film really excels at, So,
yeah, definitely.
yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but the "I'm Just Ken" song, I literally can't
Oh
get it out of my
my
head. It's
goodness.
so fucking
Fucking
catchy. Like every
awesome.
time,
Yes.
yeah, like every now and then I'll just like catch myself humming to it. I'm like, I didn't even
Yep.
do that on purpose, but it's just so damn catchy.
I
So
can't believe
I'm
Ken
just
stole
Ken.
the show in the Barbie movie. Like, my goodness.
Hmm.
But it
I
but it,
mean,
it
this is
introduces a lot of like really interesting ideas of like sure this is a very feminist empowering movie, but it's kind of also saying that like we're still gonna get nowhere without like a decent amount of sense of equality or at least looking
yeah,
out for each other, no matter
and
who
I
you are. And
I think it's
yeah,
really amusing. I think it's really amusing to me that like a lot of like conservative far right grifters are just like this is a man hating like
I was
feminist
just thinking
woke
that.
movie or
yeah, because it's
whatever.
very like pro
When
Ken, like yeah.
yeah, did you guys not watch the movie? Like did you not see like the last like half hour of this film? Like what are you talking about? Cuz I that scene
Yeah.
where like Ken's just kind of like it's Barbie and Ken. It's like there's no just Ken because like Barbie is like the selling package. Like but Ken is just an accessory. Like no one
Yeah.
buys Barbie to like get Ken dolls or whatever. So it's
Yeah.
like if Barbie is out of the equation, then what does that leave Ken? And I really love how like Margot Robbie's stereotypical Barbie is just like I mean, you kind of that's like for you to decide. Like you can't just
Yeah.
like you and us being together. That's not the end of our story. Like our story can be whatever we want. So in
Yeah.
that sense, and I love how like Ken, he's just like he becomes this essentially just like sexist like douchebag. Not because like that's just inherently who he is, but just like he's just essentially overcompensating like for like his insecurities because he's a very
Yeah.
insecure character. And so like his idea was like, well, what if I'm just like this macho cowboy man or whatever? And like he's overcompensating the fact that he doesn't feel like fulfilled in his life. And I love how he's just like, I didn't even like do this patriarchy because of like the male things or whatever. I just thought it was about horses. Like that's all he says. Like he's a good guy at heart. He's just like he's very lost. He doesn't know like what he wants out of life. It's the same way how like Barbie, Margot Robbie's Barbie doesn't know what she wants out of life either. Like it's a very like equal playing field type film where it's like they're both just like, people just trying to like discover themselves. It's like yeah, it's like I don't know how you like could interpret this as like
Yeah.
Barbie hates men because fuck you. Like I don't know how you could possibly interpret that,
Yeah,
but
no.
whatever.
So you have an
Yeah.
extremely shallow mind. That's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
purpose it's like they just watched the first hour and a half and then they just covered their ears and said na 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 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, so it's genuinely like one of the more entertaining films I think I've sat through this year. So
Also, maybe like one of the only like bearable fourth wall breaks in recent memory with Helen Mirren commenting on Margot Robbie's beauty.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
oh yeah, that was kind of funny. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
I
Yeah.
was not
So
expecting that at
There
all.
was a
I
lot of
was
fourth wall
thinking that in the
breaks.
moment too. Like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
Margot Robbie. Kind of a
They
tough
really
sell to,
read the whole
to do
audience
this.
right there.
Yeah,
They were like,
definitely.
yeah. They were like,
yeah.
okay, so everyone's gonna be thinking this now, so we're gonna drop it. Like, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the film is really self-aware. It's like really, really smartly written.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, very, very Lego movie. Like I honestly kind of wanted to watch the Lego movie like after I saw this film
That would
because
be a
it
really
kept
good double
reminding me of the
feature to
Lego movie.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, hmm so yeah. Well, I mean, I already stated my issues, but I don't know if you guys had any like real issues or like flaws with the film. I know Michael, you mentioned you didn't like the real life section, but I didn't know if there was anything else you guys had issue with or something. So
Yeah, no, I like everyone's saying, it was just I was so enraptured by how entertaining and funny the movie was. I would say it's hard for me to get like consistent laughs in a theater recently. There hasn't really been a movie to do that to me in a long time. So it was nice seeing a movie like this. And regardless of the flaws with it, I think this movie rocks. It kicks ass. We were treated with two really, really cool movies this past weekend. So I'm just happy, just happy to be watching movies.
Yeah,
yeah,
after everything, like all the Barbenheimer memes and all that shit, at least at the end of the day, like both of them were actually really good movies. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
what
could
would
you
it suck?
imagine?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they sucked?
Really sucked. Yeah, it would have been, the hype would have been like died so quick, and it would have been so unsatisfying if the movies sucked. But no, they delivered, and yeah. Barbie certainly delivered, like genuinely so surprising and so much fun. Yeah, for me, the first time I went, everybody, the whole cinema was in pink. Everyone. Not one person.
Yeah.
Didn't have one article of pink on them.
When was the last time people like wore something like that for a movie? Do you guys remember? Or
I
'cause
can't even
know.
think of a time when
Never.
people did this, honestly.
It's because it's so low commitment. Like, all you have to do for Barbie is just wear pink. Like, that's it. Like,
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But like, and then tickets have pretty much been sold out like the whole week here. I was gonna watch it again. I did watch it again, but I had to sit like quite close to the front because like I was like I looked at the tickets and I was like, oh yeah, and I was going with some friends and I was like, oh yeah, we can book later, whatever, we'll be fine. Later comes, almost the whole cinema is booked out. We literally waited like an hour, like literally just an hour, and it's like this movie is selling like insane amount of tickets, and I'm so happy for
hotcakes.
that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's
it's like fucking
weeks.
Avengers
That's
level like
insane.
numbers. Yeah.
This is gonna become one of the highest grossing movies. It's gonna definitely crack a bill like easily.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, because that means like now like Greta can like now that she has this shit on her resume, like now she could probably get a lot of financing for whatever she wants to do next.
And
so,
now a woman
apparently...
can be in like the top 10 like most highest grossing movies of all time or something. Like, that's cool too.
Yeah, because I was like Patty Jenkins for like a long while, but Patty Jenkins doesn't exactly make like great movies or anything. So, like yeah, I mean, apparently she's doing like Narnia movies now or something. I mean, I'll probably go see them because I liked this one and I liked Lady Bird, but but yeah, Noah Baumbach's best script since Madagascar 3. I think we can all agree on that. So, yeah,
I don't think anything will beat Noah Baumbach's script and Marriage Story, honestly.
I mean, Madagascar 3, I don't know if you've seen that masterpiece.
It is a classic.
But,
Francis McDormand given the parts of a lifetime.
Nah, Madagascar 2 better.
Oh, we're dropping real controversies here.
It's the best. It's the best one. Anyways.
Yeah. 6 out of 10. It's a very high 6. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I like increased my score to like a 7 in like a rewatch, because I do really want to see this again. Like, out of the two, I would sooner rewatch Barbie in theaters than I would rewatch Oppenheimer in theaters. But also because Barbie isn't 3 fucking hours long. So yeah. So
yeah, I'm at a 9 for this one too. I'm like I said, I feel very lucky to have watched 2 really good movies that I loved this weekend, and this one might be a little bit better. Like I said, I would like to rewatch both of them before I make that claim, but both broke into my top 5. Both movies I adore and can't wait to see again.
Yeah. I'm there too. I'm there with Jules. I think it's awesome. 4-star, 8, whatever. Could go up. At first, I was
really
actually like a bit more mixed. Like, I knew I really liked it, but after watching it again, and just even before I watched it again, just thinking about like how enjoyable the cinema experience was, I was like, actually, yeah, no, this movie just rocks. So yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah.
It's also cracked my top 5 easily. Like, yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I think this is my favorite Greta Gerwig film. I don't know how you guys feel about that. So
I would still say Little Woman for me is my number one, but this is close.
Okay.
This is really good too.
I haven't seen Lady Bird in like fucking forever, so like, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know if Lady Bird is better than this. I haven't seen Lady Bird in like forever, so you know, who knows.
I think they just get better each new film. Honestly, for me, like Greta's like another big director with Nolan as well, like that people just like love, and I'm like not the biggest fans of. Like, but this one sold me. I mean, I think Little Women's great as well, actually, but this one like actually put me fully on board. I like them all.
All of her movies are good. Yeah,
this one's phenomenal. Like this one's the best one easily for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm excited for whatever she does next. You know, if it's Narnia or How I Met Your Mother, the movie, whatever. So, yeah. Well, I guess we're on to the recommendations. It was my pick, and I picked a double feature of a good movie and Inception. Yeah, I'm just shooting fires right now.
Yeah, man, do it.
Yeah, well, but before we get to that, I guess we should start with the first the first film. So, Paprika was the first of my two picks, directed by one of my favorite directors, Satoshi Kon, 2006, I believe. Yeah, 2006. It's basically a film about, well, it's a film about dreams and identity, basically, but it's more just kind of like, I don't know. I don't really know how like the best way to explain this film's plot in like the most simplest way I can. I guess like,
okay, so there's this machine, and it's like, yo, you can go into people's dreams if you use this machine, and then and then the DC Mini, stolen, and they're like, oh shit, we got to find the thing, and then it's like Paprika's job to like find the thing.
Yeah. I guess that was a pretty good way of explaining it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so, yeah, it was
with
really good.
With a lot of surreal shit in between.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about Tokyo Godfathers, that one episode a million bajillion years ago. We were talking about how like Satoshi Kon's style is like kind of toned down in that one. About how like that one's kind of like playing it more straightforward and more like kind of like, you know, like straight arrow type thing. And this one's like the direct opposite of Tokyo Godfathers. This one is like full on just like what is real, what is fantasy type of thing. Because like that's like the whole driving like force of the plot. It's just like these are like scientists who like invade people's dreams to, you know, like find the terrorist that's like stealing people's dreams and merging them together and stuff like that. It's like it's in this one, like the theme actually plays like a crucial element of the plot, because like in the last like 30 minutes of the movie, like the main bad guy, Professor X anime character, he's like Professor X looking ass, like he like the dreams have like slowly started like getting bigger and bigger to the point where like the dreams are invading reality type thing, where now like there literally is no distinction between reality and fantasy. It's now just like gotten to this point where it's like the line is blurred because of this like this need for escapism. I love the movie, by the way. I guess I'll just say that I really, really love the movie. I think this is like, it's really unfortunate that this was Satoshi Kon's like last film, because he like died shortly after this film came out. But in a way, like you can kind of interpret this film as like the ultimate swan song, I guess, like unintentionally the ultimate swan song of Satoshi Kon's work, because like you could argue this is like the ultimate like build up to everything.
Wait.
Build up and no, I don't mean like quality. Like I like Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress more than this one. But like I'm talking about
just
like
gonna say Paranoia Agent was probably his swan. I thought it released in 2007, but it was 2004.
Okay.
So I'm mistaken. Sorry.
Okay, never mind. Well, either way, it's like I haven't seen Paranoia Agent, so I can't speak for that. But like when you look at his movies, they slowly get more and well, like the first two from Perfect Blue to Millennium Actress, they get more and more surreal, and then he kind of tones it down in Tokyo Godfathers, and then he just like dials it to like fucking 15, like in this one. And I just think that like in terms of like him like really, really finding himself and really like discovering his style as an artist, like I think this is like the ultimate swan song of like him like as the Satoshi Kon that we know. Now, is this better than his other films? I don't think so. I still think Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress are better films than this one, but I think this is like just such a trippy experience in like the best way possible. This is a film that just literally just throws a bunch of shit at the wall and then just like kind of see what sticks type of thing, but
Yeah.
in like the best way possible. I really, really enjoyed this film. So, but what about you guys?
Well, this was my first watch of this movie. The only other Satoshi Kon movie I've seen is Perfect Blue, which I would say I enjoyed more. I guess enjoyed is a weird word to say because that movie's fucking horrifying. But
Because then,
I would say
yeah,
I would say it's a better
yeah,
film in my eyes, for lack of a better expression. But this is an excellent movie. It's one that I would like to see again because I think I would appreciate it a lot more. Because like what
yeah,
Timmy just said, there's so much going on. Like immediately within that first like 10 minutes, so much is not even explained through dialogue, which I appreciate, just shown to you, right? And you already feel
exactly.
like you're in that dream-like state, and it's something I appreciate a ton about this movie and Perfect Blue. There's just this like nightmarish, like light nightmarish quality to this whole thing that is just so only Satoshi Kon, at least from the films that I've seen, has been able to emit that feeling to me. So have to give major kudos there. Definitely a visually stunning movie, and I didn't really have any problems with it. So this might become a 5-star on a rewatch, honestly.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's so yeah, like it's almost kind of like a horror movie. Like not to the extent that like Perfect Blue was, but it's kind of like existentially terrifying if you know what I
Yes,
mean.
exactly.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so what about you guys?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it too.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I really like it. I think it's just very Satoshi Kon. That's all you can really say about it. Like, he's
Yeah.
definitely a dude that I more just appreciate, like, more than I like fully connect to. Um, but even like the fact that like he's just been able, like, consistently, like he's just very consistent in the few films he made. Like, they were all great, even though they're not like the most personal journeys and like things that I like personally get a real personal kick out of. I said personally like 10 times there. Sorry. Um,
It's fine.
but they're still just really great. Like, I don't even know if spectacle's the word, but like visual feasts, like that's just him. That's just who he is. I think the only one that really like hits me hard is like maybe elements of Tokyo Godfathers and like Paranoia Agent. Definitely, like, it's his show, it's the show that he made, but you gotta watch that. Like, that's like the one that manages to just sway me over so hard. But this one's
Well, when we
still,
do TV recommendations, you could honestly just recommend Paranoia Agent if you want to. Yeah, so
yeah.
yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, so
Yeah, but this one is
yeah,
still pretty great. Like you said, it's just very him. It's definitely him at his most, just throw it, like, just completely mind fuckery, honestly. Like, Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress are very mind fuckery, but kind of like low key about it in ways. I guess Perfect Blue kind of, and I guess Millennium Actress definitely has like very surreal elements within its visuals, but this one just goes above and beyond, like, with
hmm
what it's showing. And that's why I like this more than, well, Inception, because it takes this concept that's dreams. It's literally any wild thing your mind can possibly ever imagine, and just fucking
exactly.
goes with it and just absolutely sends it. Like, Like,
Yeah,
there's not
I'm
enough of that shit in Inception. Inception is just
Ex
dull.
exactly. I
And like,
100% agree with you, yeah.
yeah, when
Mhm.
you have this concept that's literal dreams, human imagination, and every like speck of what is possible to imagine, I think this film definitely succeeds way greater because like
For sure. Yeah.
it definitely
Yeah.
delivers in creating like like it's kind of like no, never mind. But yeah,
See,
it utilizes its concept very well. And
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna save my comparisons between this and Inception later when we talk about Inception, but I 100% agree with you, like, if you're making a film about dreams and like people invading their dreams and people like kind of like using dreams as like a narrative device to like tell this crazy like visual spectacle, then you better go all out, you know?
Yeah.
Like again, I'm going to save my comparisons when we talk about Inception. So, but just focusing on Paprika, there is just so much about this film. Like even like taking aside on like a visual level, like there's so much narratively and thematically that I really, really found interesting. Like I love how the film like really tricks you at the beginning because the film starts with the cop, like the police detective, like with his face and his shtick, and like him like running down the hallway to like find the killer, like of like the guy or whatever. But it's kind of like a red herring because like that ultimately doesn't matter in the overall like main plot of the film. Like you could
Hmm.
literally surgically remove that subplot from the movie and it would like change nothing about like the overall story because the film primarily centers on the dual-sided relationship between Chiba, the main girl protagonist, and Paprika, because I really love how this film kind of explores this sense of identity where Chiba and Paprika are basically two sides of the same coin. They're not technically the same person because they don't like say out loud that they're the same person. They kind of like imply the fact that they view themselves as completely different entities. They even say it in the film where it's like, "Are you a part of me or am I a part of you?" type of thing.
Yeah.
Because I love how like distinct their personalities are. Like Chiba's very like conservative, very like cold and very like emotionless, and like Paprika's just not to excuse my language, but she's basically like a best girl waifu type character. Like she's literally like a dream
Oh
girl.
my
Like I'm not
god.
even joking. Like she is a waifu dream girl, but like that's how like she is presented in this dream. Like they literally talk about how like she's like, oh, this dream girl, like this girl of like everyone's dreams and stuff like that. And I love how like near the end when like Professor X anime guy like is trying to take over the world because of his like obsession with like replacing his body with like the limitless of like dreams that can attain. I love how they like reconcile with each other and form into like one single person, like because they're always like viewed as separate entities, but now they have to like form to like beat the bad guy or whatever. And I thought like the way they went about that was just really, really interesting and really awesome. So, mhm.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah. So yeah, and I love how and there were a lot of like really really cool visuals. Like I the very first visual that comes to my mind is when Paprika is like captured or whatever, and the guy like sticks his hand inside like Paprika and then like tears out like the casing or whatever, the shell or whatever to reveal Chiba inside. I thought like
Yeah.
visually things like that were
Insane.
like really cool. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right from like the opening alone, like like there's just, you already can tell it's just gonna be so visually grand. Like you have like this clown like fucking pulling himself
yeah,
up or out of
yeah.
something. It's like crazy stuff just right from the
Mhm.
beginning. Like, yeah, like it just throws you
Yeah.
right into it. And like, yeah.
And the opening credits themselves are so much fun. Just like so visually like gorgeous
Stunning.
to look at. Like
Immediately. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the music is awesome in that scene. The visuals look awesome in that scene. Like it's yeah, like what when we well I'll yeah, this composer, I forgot his name. Someone can correct me in case they know the answer. But like this composer, he worked with the Millennium Actress. Sorry, let me rephrase that. He worked with Satoshi Kon by making the music for Millennium Actress, and like yeah, like this composer, I really, really love like the music he brings to Cone's films. Like it really adds to the sort of like kind of like dream like lull, like vibe that he's going for,
Yeah, same
like
composer
and
as Paranoia Agent in the movie. The music in that is fantastic too. So
oh
yeah.
really? Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, it's like the music is really epic and I just love how like I love the little like visual gags they have in the movie too. Like the scene where um the the police cop and Paprika are like watching a movie and he's like explaining like how like oh this isn't like imaginary line and you can never cross like this imaginary line otherwise like the edit like looks really weird and then they just like flip the screen over to like as like the camera like goes past the imaginary line and stuff like that. I really liked little gags like that. I thought like the film is definitely like charming and very quirky while also just being this like visual feast as well. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy juxtaposition of tones and feels, because on one hand you're hearing and sometimes seeing something that is very charming and quite funny and endearing, and then on the other hand there's immediately something very nightmarish waiting around the corner.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jules and Michael. Yeah, if yeah, please say more things about the film. I don't want me and Luca don't want to be the only ones just talking. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
about the
gonna go
movie.
to
Yeah.
fucking sleep during Inception, so you guys better like say your words.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
like
I got a good amount to say about Inception too, but go ahead. Go for it, man.
should we just move on then? Like we're tight
Guess
on
so,
time
because like
anyways.
because the only reason why I
What?
recommended both is because yeah, so I can compare the two. Yeah, so I guess so. Yeah, like it's like it has too many cooks in like the kitchen, is trying to do too many things at once type of thing. Okay, yeah, I guess I don't disagree with that. I do think they could have like established and like taken more time on certain things. Like I do think they kind of rushed the villain like a little too quickly. Like
Mm.
I definitely think he could have needed more like development, but like but I see what you mean, but I even but I don't know, like I feel like I'm not upset or bothered by that just purely because like the movie already is just kind of trying to be this like acid trip type experience anyway. So I feel like the fact that it has like so many arrows going in different directions, like I was a little more forgiving of something like that
That was
purely because
my
of like what the
thinking on
film
it
is going
too.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my thinking on it too. The dreamlike quality of it lent itself well to that chaos that was constantly happening. But there is a point where I do understand that could just become too much, and you just lose sight of the story or whatever nuance is there at a certain angle. Yeah.
I like
Nah.
this more than Tokyo Godfathers too. Yeah. Yeah, Perfect Blue is also my favorite. Yeah. So
Nah, Tokyo Godfather's the best one.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of Godfathers,
Oh, the wait, we're
Inception.
Inception? Okay, yeah. Wait, did we want to rate Paprika first?
Oh
I
wait,
could go
yeah.
on about this film, but like I know we're probably running on time, so yeah, we can just move on to Inception. So, yeah, 9 out of 10. I think it's incredible. It could be a 10 in like a rewatch, but I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah, 9 out of
So
10.
is this the first time you saw it?
Oh, wait, no, I have seen it before. Sorry. I mean like it's been a long while since I've seen it, so I've never really like
Okay.
thought about it like that to this extent, but I don't know, like the first time I saw this film, I was like, yeah, that was really good. I was more in the lines of like what Jules was thinking, but because this I hadn't seen this in a while and when I kind of went in with fresh experience, I was like, "Oh wow, this is like sick as shit." Like so now I kind of like
Mm-hmm.
if I see this again, my love will probably go even higher. So, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would like to give this. This is probably one that I'm more eager to rewatch over Perfect Blue, despite me enjoying or liking that film a little bit more. But that being said, this is a visually stunning masterpiece of a film. Definitely eager to dive more into Cohen's filmography because of it. And I would like to see it again. At the moment, probably like a 9, like a 9.5. Definitely could be a 10 on a rewatch.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm that too. Not not my favorite movie, but I think it's still great. I honestly think it's still great. 7. Um,
Nice.
I'm always gonna fucking really appreciate whatever Cone did, even if it's like doesn't fully connect with me. I still love a lot of the ideas that are happening, love the visuals that are happening. Sure, it's trippy and weird and hard to understand at some points, but I mean, hey, it provides a great concept and just being very, very visionary heavy. So, yeah, nice
I'm
solid
very
7.
curious. I'm very curious how you guys will respond to Mind Game because this film reminded me of Masaki Yuasa's Mind Game. I've mentioned this before. I don't know if either any of you guys have seen this film. So, um,
Nope.
but yeah. Well, future recommendation. Don't worry. So, but anyway, I guess we'll move on to the. I guess you can call it the live action anime adaptation of Paprika. I guess you can call it that. Inception, the Christopher Nolan movie. Yeah, the underground indie film that literally no one has ever heard of. Like very small amount of people have heard of this movie before. And I mean, I guess like yeah, because I guess I'm just gonna straight up state right now, like I'm gonna bring the comparisons between this and Paprika right now. This one
Do it,
was
man.
so much more boring in comparison to Paprika. Like, I don't think the film itself is boring. Like, I think there are some really interesting shots in the film that I thought were quite cool. And, you know, there were some sequences that I thought were pretty exhilarating. I thought were pretty like intense. But overall, my main issue with Inception is just that like if Paprika is a film that is very much show don't tell, this is a movie that's just literally all tell. Like the
Yeah.
first hour of this movie is just characters that just won't shut the hell up. Like they just won't stop talking. They're just constantly explaining and explaining and explaining the plot, but the end result is just like why should I care about anything that is happening in this film whatsoever? Like, I get like we're supposed to care about DiCaprio's character because, like, you know, he's like his wife, and you know, something to do with like her trying to kill herself, and like you know, yeah, his wife died. That's pretty. Yeah, you pretty much summed it up like that. Like his wife died. Okay, so that's our reason to care about DiCaprio. Like, okay, whatever. Even if that was the case, then why should we care about literally anyone else in this movie? The film gives me
Yeah.
zero reason to give a shit about anyone else in the film, and like and yet the film still expects me to like be like, oh, you're on the edge of your seat, like you know, like Ken Watanabe just got shot and he might die and like go into limbo, but like you never gave me a reason of why I should even like you know be interested in the fact that he might like get his brain scrambled, you know. Like part of what I loved about Paprika is that like even the most minor characters like had something for me to care about. Like I cared about pretty much everyone in Paprika. I cared about like half of a person in Inception, and like that's about it. Like, and and this just comes back to what I said about like in our my own private Idaho discussion, where it's like I don't really care how stylistic or how avant-garde or whatever, like how like good your film looks. Like if the story is just kind of meh, if the characters are just kind of meh, then it's just like it's not really in service of anything, you know. So, but I'll leave it at there. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's super fair. I definitely could say right up front that I think I enjoy this movie more than you. At least you at this point. I want to hear what everyone
Yeah.
else has to say too. But yeah, it's definitely I think my biggest problem that I've always had with this movie is that it presents itself to be way more complicated than it actually is.
Yes, I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and that on rewatches has bogged it down for me through every time I've seen this movie. But like you said though, there are a lot of moments that I still find to be very exhilarating, very charming, great. Not I feel like the editing in a lot of these Nolan movies from this era does a disservice to the sets and the action taking place, but less so in this movie compared to something like Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins, thankfully. So
Yeah, exactly.
the
Yeah.
action is still definitely bearable, and I really like, despite the characters not being super developed, I like most of the performances here, especially Cillian Murphy is so good in that like little scene that he has in like the vault with his dad. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
always
that was good, I guess. Yeah.
had mixed feelings on this one. Definitely on the side of positivity though. I do think it is quite an overrated film, but that's probably because it's just been seen by so many people that this is a movie that is often brought up. But But yeah, definitely like nothing that is blowing my mind about this movie, but nothing I would hold super hard against it either. Still an enjoyable watch for the most part.
Inception's fucking boring.
There we go. Yeah.
This movie is so boring. I'm sorry, but I don't know why people love this shit so much. It's like people are like walking out the new Mission Impossible and saying that's a waste of time. At least that had constant fucking action and not like people explaining like talking the whole movie about the things that like are happening and then not even doing that impressive stuff with the things that are happening. Like, yes, Inception has some cool visuals. Has some great visuals. Okay? But like, I don't give a fuck. This movie
Exactly, yeah.
This movie is so boring that yeah. I predicted that Timmy was gonna recommend this one too. As soon as Paprika was brought up in the mix, and he was like, "Guys, I actually want to recommend another movie." I was like, "Oh no." I know exactly what's happening here. And I even called it, and you were like, "No, I'm not going to do that." And then you did it.
Well, yeah,
And
I couldn't just admit it, you know, in the
goodness.
discussion, yeah. So, yeah.
And I was like,
yeah, this has happened like twice. It's crazy that you like.
This has happened way more than twice. I am on minds. It's probably yeah. And I don't even know if you guys have even a clue what I'm gonna recommend this time.
I've no idea, but we'll get there when we get there. Yeah. So,
even though it'll be obvious once it comes around. But yes,
I'm sure.
But yeah, like, yeah, that's literally all I have to say. I don't care about the characters. I don't care about the story. Again, we said it already, but like, your concept is dreams, and the concepts and like visuals and stuff presented in this film feel more like science fiction-y. But dreams are such like a personal and surreal and like spiritual like experience. So like, why is everything I'm seeing like feels like it's coming out of like a sci-fi universe, you know? Like it just makes no sense to me. Like, and I know, you know, maybe you can express more in animation and stuff like that, but I guess all the bits that are the dream stuff in this movie are animation anyways. So like, yeah. I mean, sure, there's some cool practical stuff like the rotating corridor and shit like that, but like, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't vibe with this movie, and yeah.
Christopher Nolan must have the most boring dreams ever if this is the best he could like conceive.
He's like, oh yeah, this gray color palette and awful sound mixing.
These mirrors and this bridge and this coffee shop and these Western business attire suits that the characters are gonna wear. Like, why isn't anyone like flying in this movie? Why aren't there any like crazy like flying elephants? Why isn't anyone having sex with each other? Like, this is like all the questions that I'm thinking. It's like normal people dream of like normal dream things. Yeah, or something. I don't know. Like, why aren't there like three-headed monkeys? Like, like why is like Christopher Nolan's dreams just like slightly weirder real life Christopher Nolan-y stuff? Like, that's just all I was thinking. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Just like white people in like suits. Like, that's his dreams. Like, okay, like whatever.
Hey, don't forget the train that goes through the street, man. Come on.
Oh, crazy. Wow. Yeah. So
yeah, it wasn't on any tracks. Holy shit.
Oh, the bad guys are like military people, but they can't hit anything with machine guns. Crazy. Wow. Yeah, it's like anyway, Jules, yeah, go ahead. What did you think about Inception?
Even Doctor Strange has cooler visuals than this movie, honestly.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. So
yeah, no.
No, yeah, they were just forcing they were forcing that down your throat, being like, "Isn't this sad? Like DiCaprio's wife just jumped out of a window." Like, okay, like, all right, like whatever, yeah,
No, no, Jesus Christ, no.
yeah. It's yeah, I can't take like most of that seriously whatsoever. Just like them just like on the beach or what like yeah, like go like the window confrontation is like, no, no, Jesus Christ, no. It's just like, oh my God. Like, dude, come on. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I just
I will say I think Leonardo DiCaprio is doing a fine job in this movie, but I don't know how you all feel about it, but I feel like he's very miscast in this.
oh yeah,
Should have
100%.
been Jason Statham.
Yeah, it feels like this character was like meant for like someone who's played like James Bond at some point in their life. Like I like this seemed like something for like a Daniel Craig or like Timothy Dalton or like Roger Moore, not Roger Moore, the Pierce Brosnan type or something like that. But yeah, like I
Yeah,
don't think like DiCaprio is like awful in the film. Like he's like fine.
definitely
Yeah,
not. Definitely not.
if we're gonna talk like actual good performances, I thought like Tom Hardy was like one of the better like actors in the film. Like and
Oh,
yeah,
Tom Hardy's always good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like Killian Murphy too, like obviously, yeah. But like then there are just some other actors who are just like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like literally his only role is just to explain the plot that is just too confusing for normies. Like that's all he exists to be in the film. And then you have Ken Watanabe with like his heavy accent where it's like if I didn't have subtitles, I literally couldn't understand like half of the things that he was saying. So it's like it's yeah, it's just like going back to what Luca mentioned. It's like this film for a movie about dreams is just really, really dull, like both visually and just like narratively. Because like when you compare this to Paprika, where like yeah, you can argue like it's animation, so they have like more like yeah, freedom and ability to like do whatever. But like like in Paprika, they just threw everything at the wall. They threw like the entire paint can on the wall and just kind of see what stuck. But this one, it's just like like even the scenes that they did show some things where like like when DiCaprio is like doing the test with like Elliot Page. And they're just explaining in the dream, the blah 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 blah. You got to put your subconscious here and then put memories there or whatever. Like it's still just people talking in the middle of a street. Like, how is this like visually engaging? Like, how is this like visually like interesting to look at? It's just people in suits walking down a street. There's like there's no real meat to
Yeah.
this film like whatsoever. There's nothing interesting about the movie that like hooks me in. I'm just like sitting there and going like I mean, yeah, the action scenes was great. Like that hallway fight scene with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like yeah, that was visually interesting to look at. Like I liked the hallway fight, but that wasn't in service of anything. It was just like independently that was just like, yeah, that was cool. Next thing, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not even real people. They're just like dream soldiers that like Killian Murphy like brought in somehow. Like okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They introduce a lot of interesting concepts, like that concept of like someone training his mind to be prepared for something like this, but once again, it's not something that's ever shown or developed upon in any way, shape, or
Yeah,
form.
exactly. They just like
Um,
throw a bunch of random plot points in here and then but they just don't explain it further. They're just like, yeah, it's just like
yeah.
Killian Murphy just trained his mind, dream soldiers, blah 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 blah, something like that. It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's the same thing with like the whole architect angle, right? I feel like there's so many interesting things you can do with that because everyone's style would hypothetically be very different from each other within their dreams, right? So you would assume that, but then they very quickly get rid of that idea by going, no, it has to be this way for this to work. And so everything kind of just ends up looking the same anyway.
Yeah. Like yeah, I love how like Michael Caine was just like, no, I got someone better to architect the thing. But like the way she like designs the dreams is like literally no different from like the previous guy that they were dreaming, the guy who like double crossed Joseph Gordon. Yeah, it's just like what's the difference? What's the point here? Like yeah, I just wish there was some angle for me to care, like because I don't know about you guys, but to me, this was like the start of like all my main issue with Christopher Nolan, just like as a writer, where it's like this was the point where he just stopped writing characters and just started writing like walking, talking plot explainers. Yeah, because like a lot of like the characters in this film just exist to like either explain the plot or like are like kind of like vehicles to like drive home certain themes. Because this was also an issue in like Tenet and like Dark Knight Rises and all this other stuff. It's like and especially in Interstellar. That was the other thing I was thinking of. Like Interstellar like had a problem worse than this film. Like where it's like there's no like connection for me. There's no connection for me with this film. There's nothing for me to attach myself with this film. Like in Paprika, like even if you didn't really care for like any of the characters, at least Paprika was like giving you a very like visual, beautiful looking like experience. But this film is just so like it's gray and like shades of gray, the colors. That's it. Great. Like I,
Gray
I feel like
and
I'm being
dark
harsh, but
blue.
yeah, exactly. Like I feel like me and Luke are being harsh, but you guys
Nah.
you guys seem like you don't disagree with us whatsoever. Yeah. So
I don't disagree. It just doesn't detract from it that much, if that makes sense.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't disagree, but it's not movie ruining for me to the point where I can't say I don't enjoy most of this film still.
Yeah.
There's so much exposition 100% of the time.
Half the movie is
Yeah.
exposition. There's no like normal like yeah, there's no like normal people don't have conversations in this movie. Like the half the reason to why people in this movie talk is just to explain the plot. Like that's literally it. Like and but it's not in a way that's like interesting. Like I'm thinking of like The Dark Knight, which like came before which was his film before this, where it's like a lot of that film is also filled with like dialogue that's just like to hammer home the themes like of that film. But it still feels like people having conversations. It still feels like people acting like people. And in this one it's just like this person explains why they can't do this, and this person explains why you can do this. It's just like, yeah, I don't want to kind of repeat my points, but like there really is like that's like my main issue with the film. It's like if there was just something, I think like because I remember I did research on the film, and apparently like Christopher Nolan pitched this as like a horror movie or something. And like that would have been an interesting idea where it's like if he kind of like took the Marion Cotillard character and like turned that into sort of like some existential like horror film type thing. Like that would have been interesting. And that and he could have like had all these like interesting themes about like dreams and stuff like that while still having an interesting narrative for me to latch onto. But like
Yeah.
this is just like nothing for me. Like I feel nothing when I watch this film. So yeah.
Same. And we should probably move on because there's like 10 minutes left before my power goes off. So
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Well, I've said a lot, so yeah. If you guys want to like say, if you guys want to say something else before we wrap this up, yeah, go ahead. So
Yeah, I mean, once again, not far from my favorite of Nolan's. It's probably somewhere in the middle of the pack if I was like rank his whole filmography. Not a film that I hate, just a film that I don't really feel anything strong for. Very impressive for 2010, not so impressive now. Yeah, solid movie. I'd probably give it a high 7.
nice,
well, we're going down.
Luca.
You go, Timmy.
Yeah.
We're going down in order.
Oh, sorry.
Descending order.
Yeah. 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 I gave this a 6, but in retrospect, I mean, based on how I'm feeling, I feel like this should be a 5 instead. It's probably one of those like 5 or 6 out of 10. Like, because like as much as I was shit talking it, I don't like hate the movie. Like, because I definitely like this more than like Tenet. I definitely didn't like Tenet or Interstellar, but like, so I definitely like
Tenet is so much
don't want to give
better
this the
than
same
this.
rating.
Tenet is so
Really,
much
you like
better
Tenet more than this?
Inception.
Okay.
Yeah.
I for sure like Tenet more than this. Too,
Oh,
I would
really?
say.
Okay, yeah. So, but yeah, one of those 5 or 6. Who knows? Yeah. So
5. It's just right in the middle. Like, yeah, there's good elements to it, but also like I literally don't care about this movie.
Yeah.
I see why it's
No.
popular, blah blah blah, but like, yeah, no, not for me. Super not for me.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah. Well, another day, another dollar. Got that one solved. So can't wait to do.
Why is that like your new catchphrase now?
I don't know.
You've said that like at the end of every episode. Oh, yeah.
Another one bites the dust. That's the other one I say. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we probably don't have time for questions, so I guess we should just jump into Luca's recommendation. So,
Alrighty.
yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. I proposed one question, just quickly.
Okay.
In the
Alright,
light
let's
of the
do it, yeah.
Barbenheimer, favorite Gerwig, favorite Nolan.
Ooh.
I'll go last because I've got the best
Okay.
opinion.
Okay, whatever. If you sure. Yeah. So, yeah. I need to think of for a minute for this one. So, yeah, Jules
Jules,
or
go.
Mikey, you guys can go first. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I think Greta Gerwig, I think I mentioned it earlier, I would say Little Woman is still my favorite. Definitely the movie that had the most emotional impact on me watching it and rewatching it. Nolan, if I don't say The Dark Knight,
Why you go such normies?
Timmy's
Timmy's gonna say The Dark Knight.
If I don't say The Dark Knight,
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
The
might
Dark
have to
Knight,
say
too.
Tenet, which just seems like a hot take on this podcast, but I love Tenet. I really love that movie.
Hell yeah.
I didn't much care for Tenet. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say The Dark Knight too.
Wow.
I mean, come on, guys.
What
my
about
second pick was-
Dark Knight's great.
Oh wait, never mind. Yeah.
My second pick was also Dunkirk, so it was basically the exact same answer as Jules. So, I haven't seen Memento or Prestige. Apparently, those are really great too. So,
Ooh, those are great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Memento's
so-
a good one, probably.
yeah. And then Gerwig, like, I don't know, like, I saw Little Women recently for the first time. That was like decent. I didn't get like that much like out of that film. I haven't seen Lady Bird in like forever, so I guess I'll say Barbie, but who knows? Maybe I'll like Lady Bird a lot more in like a rewatch or something. So,
I mean, yeah, I kind of already said it, but Barbie is easily my favorite Gerwig right now. Love it. Best Nolan. So Batman Begins, I think.
yeah, I knew that was coming.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's the best of that trilogy. I think it's kind of slept on. I think it's definitely the most stylized he's been. Like there's colors in the movie that isn't just gray. It's insane. And it has a little bit of like camp and superhero charm to it, unlike the other ones that are very grounded in reality. This one kind of feels like it has its own thing going on, and yeah, it's not like I don't even think it's like amazing, but I think it's my favorite Nolan movie, honestly. Batman Begins.
Yeah,
So
the
you-
only one of his Batman movies that actually felt like Gotham.
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, because then when you get to Dark Knight and
That's
Dark
just
Knight
fucking
Rises,
New
it's
York.
just-
Yeah.
yeah, it's just New York or Chicago or Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Pittsburgh, whatever city he decided to felt like filming one day. Yeah. So yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
hot
my hot take.
diggity dog. Yeah. So there's another cliche. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. I think it's Lucas' turn now. Yeah.
It is my turn.
Yeah, for next time.
I'm gonna get it nice and close for this one because
I'm shuddering in anticipation.
we're gonna be watching this little movie called The Darjeeling Limited.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
It's a very special film.
Yeah, it's Mikey. This is an inside joke in one of our discords, so yeah.
It's a very
I should have known.
Okay.
I should have known this was coming. Yeah. So
This is on the brink of happening already. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so-
a great film that I feel like is fuck you, Jules.
Yeah.
You're gonna see the vision. You're gonna see the vision. Okay. And
Yeah.
well, maybe
I
when
still have-
I talk about the movie and express its greatness, you will see.
We still haven't seen it, so I might just give it a 7 out of 10 just out of spite.
Timmy's
Just-
gonna give it a 7 out of 10 anyways, normally. But
Yeah, I'll watch the first
I have
5 minutes
faith.
and then just give it a 7 out of 10 just based on that. So
I can't let
Yeah.
this train die. I can't let this train stop. Play with me.
No, I totally
You're playing with
understand.
fire.
Yeah,
This is
I
between
totally
me and
understand
Jules.
Oh, so this is so I have no horse in this race.
No,
is what you're saying.
I honestly, I know you're gonna give it a good old 7. No. Okay, well, yeah, I think it's a great
yeah,
film.
and I need an excuse to see the film. Yeah, so yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for the Darjeeling Limited 2007, directed by Wesley Anderson, the not Paul Tom, the other one, the other Anderson. Watch it because we're gonna spoil it next episode. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks again. Yeah, thanks again, Mikey, for coming on to the podcast. Do you want to shout out anything? Do you want to self promo yourself on anything that you're working on? So I know you're working on some big things, but they don't know, so might as well just say it to them. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks, Jules, Luca. Nice to meet y'all, and thank you, Timmy, for having me on. It's been a blast. Love talking movies as always. But yeah, you can find me at Michael Chu on Letterboxd and on YouTube. Michael Chu for real on Twitter, as long as that lasts. And yeah, exciting content coming. If you watched and enjoyed the Woodsboro retrospective and enjoyed Donovan and I breaking down that series, there is something equally exciting down the pipeline that is happening very, very soon, and I can't wait to share it more with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love your stuff, man. Always excited to see new stuff from you. So
thank you, dude. The feeling is mutual.
Yeah, if you have 9 hours to spare,
watch,
then you're gonna have a hell of a
dude,
time.
if you need an excuse to rewatch those movies or waste some time, definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.